Volume 9, Tips and Drills, a bonus volume we have. And we have a cast of characters featured herein. I want you to sit back and enjoy what you're about to see because there's bound to be a tip that's good for you. If not a tip, certainly a drill will do. I appreciate those who participated and want you to enjoy what you see and hear.
From prestigious Bel Air, California, and the Los Canyons Golf Club in Simi Valley, California, welcome to Swing the Handle with the little pro, Eddie Merrins. You know by now that Eddie is a teacher of golf who for over 4 decades has earned a reputation for helping golfers of all levels play better.
Well, Pro, I remember when I played well, I felt relaxed physically. But anytime I played badly, it's as if my body wanted to tighten up.
You know why that is, David?
No, I don't.
Psychologically, you've ball bound yourself and you've caused yourself to be paralyzed at contact.
That's what it felt like.
And every joint in your body tends to lock.
Okay.
And I liken that to the 3 states of the cat when we're trying to get the message across. This deals with the physical, mental state of being when you play your best golf. Now think of the 3 states of the cat. You've got the poor cat lying in the corner, sound asleep, totally relaxed, but also totally out of it.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Not able to do anything. He's easy prey.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second cat is ready to pounce. He's ready to leap. He's in his so-called athletic position. But mentally, he's relaxed. Physically, every joint in his body is free. And his muscles are springy, so he's ready to move into action.
So it's not a question of feeling loose. Your joints should feel loose, but there should be a little tension in your muscles to hold everything together.
Exactly. And there's a difference between the joints and the muscles. The joints are free, the muscles are in use. All right, and that's the state that we'd like to see you in.
So you don't want to be too loose, you know, where you can't control the club head.
Loosey-goosey. The head of the club will actually swing you if you do that. You won't be able to swing the handle.
You want to have a little spring in your step and feel like you're connected and an athletic kind of a posture, like you're ready to go.
Ready to jump out of the block, so to speak, if you win a foot race.
So we've got the first 2 cats. What's the third one?
The third one, perish the thought, is the poor cat lying stiff as a board in the street.
Oh.
And he's really out of it because he is stiff, and this is the state that too many players find themselves in when they tense and tighten up. And what happens is every joint in your body is totally locked. So to overcome that, we're going to try to differentiate between joints and muscles. Every joint in the body should be perfectly free. But the muscle system is in use. You're using the muscles to swing the handle of the club. So how about demonstrating a little bit?
Okay, but you want the second cat I'm taking.
I'd like to see that second state.
Let's go with the second cat.
Where everything is free as a bird. Every joint in your body is free and your muscle system is going to swing the club. And that's exactly what we saw too.
Huh.
A swing with nothing but freedom.
You know, I'm a dog person, and it worked for me.
Ha ha ha.
Eddie, sometimes just as I take the club away, I feel like I've folded over or I've moved off the ball. It's a feeling that I'm not all in one piece. I'm not coordinated.
Your upper body tends to go down somewhat, right?
Yeah.
You feel like Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah.
You had a great fall. The upper part of your body is tipping over, in other words. Most suggestion would have you hold your head and your chin up. Really doesn't get the job done, David. I want you to think a little lower than that. You've got a belly button. Now, the whole world hasn't seen that belly button, but you've got one.
That's a good thing.
I want you to hold that belly button up, if you will, as you make your swing. I want you to mentally think of holding it up.
So instead of trying to keep my top half at the same height, I want to think about keeping it right in the center here, right in the center of gravity, right around my belly button.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Well, my belly button is a little too far away from my backbone, but I'll give it a try.
And watch the upper body stay up, how comfortable that is. It's going to stay up for the rest of your life. Okay?
So that's a feeling of almost swinging the club with your center of gravity.
That's correct.
Cool.
You're concentrated on that.
Thank you.
Well done.
Oh, I have a problem sometimes when I'm trying to pull a club because if I miss it the way I normally do, then I should pick one club. If I actually put a good swing on it, it's actually going to be another club. So what would your advice be?
So you're in a little bit of a quandary
Yes,
there as
sir,
to which
I
one of
am.
these things to pull out.
That's correct.
Look at all these clubs, Thomas. A whole satchel full of golf clubs. It could be confusing, couldn't it?
It's very confusing for me.
But a good player like you knows what he can do with each and every one of these clubs.
Yes, sir.
So my suggestion when you make a club choice, whether it be tee shot, fairway shot, short game shot, or putting, where with the putter you usually have only one of those, so you can't become too confused with
That's
putting
true.
green, can you? But let's say we're in the middle of the fairway having driven well, and we're out about 193 yards.
Yes, sir.
So you have choices as to 3 or 4 iron or any other club in your bag. But my suggestion to you, twofold. Have enough club in hand to go to the back edge of the green. Thereby, you can swing comfortably and get the ball to the target. And then if you're still debating between the 3 and the 4, go with the club you feel most confident allows you to play the shot that you have in mind.
Right.
And when you step to the ball, chase any negative thoughts that may come to mind down the avenue, because the club you've chosen at that moment is the right club for the shot that you've planned to play. And you're going to go about it in as positive a manner as you possibly can.
Now, if I say, sometimes it happens to me where I say I've pulled a 4-iron for that shot, and I get out there and I don't quite feel comfortable over it, and yet I'll still go ahead and pull the trigger and not go back and walk and pull the 3-iron instead. Any suggestions for that?
My suggestion is that you choose one club or the other. It matters not which, really, as long as you think it's the right club for the shot you have in mind. So let's say you choose to go with the 4-iron rather than the 3-iron because you want to hit it a little firmer. All I'd recommend from there is that you step up and do it as positively as you can.
Very good.
Certainly not tentatively and not negatively,
Absolutely not.
because you're not that kind of person.
No, sir, not at all. So, Pro, I'm looking for some sort of drill because I have some issues with the tilt of my shoulders on my backswing and on my follow-through. And I end up losing my spine angle, all those sorts of things. And I know that you've got the answer for me.
It's a lot of things to think about, Thomas.
Yes, sir, it
But
is.
I think what you're describing is the tendency for the shoulders to raise and lower. In other words, tilt,
That's correct.
working up and down, right?
Instead of just back and
And
through.
the shoulders really aren't made to tilt. Did you stop to think of that? When you see the tilt of the shoulders, it truly isn't the shoulders doing it. It's the spine tilting
That's
one way
correct.
or the other. So since the shoulders are made to rotate, let's come up with a little drill that can help that. Let me ask you to grab your arms at the elbow.
Like this?
Okay, grab your elbows in the palm of your hand, okay? And like you were cradling something within your arms,
All right.
okay, like your little baby.
All right.
Let me see you swing your torso to the right and keep the elbows level, okay? Because if the elbows work up and down, you're going to lose that precious
Sure.
cargo.
Sure.
So let me see you swing to the right and then swing back to the left. Now what did you do?
I tried to keep it fairly level.
You did keep it level. Your shoulders worked on a level, your elbows worked on a level, your hips and your knees were all on the same plane level, which is ideal because the body was moving in the right direction at the right time.
Right.
But more than that, your arms were moving that cargo from right to left in sync with the movement of your torso.
That's true as
Correct.
well.
All right, now the cargo that you're going to have in hand is going to be your golf club. So correctly done, your forearms, as they did when you held the elbows in your palm, your forearms are going to rotate the body and the club to the right, and then they're going to rotate the body and the club to the left side of your body. So you have a perfect sync, arms and body.
And it gives you that, when I hear people talk about keep your arms out of it, keep your hands out of it, that dead arm kind of swing, this is exactly what they're talking about, because the arms are just in synchronicity with the torso.
And you're beginning to use the so-called big muscles of the body. You
Right.
can feel that. You can feel the torso rotating right and left, but in harmony with the movement of the club. And notice there's no tilt. No tilt to the shoulders, no tilt to the elbows, no tilt to the hips, the knees. Everything working on a similar plane. So now you know, Thomas.
Thank you, Pro.
Now you know.
This is a good one.
It is a good, and it feels good, doesn't it? It feels strong.
It does. Now,
Because you feel the rotation of your body trunk in movement with the rotation of the club.
thank you. Proof of the pudding will be with the other precious cargo in my
And
hand.
it'll work.
All right.
Bobby, we're going to talk about something today that I think will be of interest to everyone. Let's think of the right side and its prominence in the golf swing. There are certain points in the right side that need to be set correctly, and these would be they. I'd like to see you when you set up to play a shot. Go ahead and address the club for me. I'd like to see you set your right wrist inward. I'd like to see you set your right knee inward. And I'd like to see you set your right elbow inward. Now you're all set and ready to go, and you've developed a forward feeling in your setup. You're ready to move forward through the shot. All right, now if you will, go ahead and take your backswing, but try to retain the set in your right side as you do so. Go ahead and make a backswing. And notice the right elbow is still set inward. It has not slid outward and upward. The right wrist is set inward. And your right knee is still set inward. It's not buckled to the outside. So the net gain from all of that is you're set and ready at all times to move forward in your swing, which is very important. Because if you allow the elbow to slide outward, if you allow the wrist to buckle outward, if you allow the knee to slide outward, you have to recover from that in order to move forward. So why put yourself out of position and then have to move back into position? See that?
Yes, feels very like I'm ready to go forward.
And you feel strong that way,
Yes,
right?
feels very strong.
Strong, and at any moment within your backswing, whenever you feel like it, you're ready to go forward.
And that's my favorite thing, to rush that downswing.
Uh-huh.
Feels good and set here.
You're set and you're ready to go. I like that. Well done. Bobby, there are three ways I know of that the hands can hinge at the wrist. You can flip-flop them back and forth, as so many people do, flapping the wrist. You can roll the hands at the wrist, or you can hinge the club upward and downward at the wrist. I think this is one of those mysterious movements in a golf swing that eludes most people, but it's very important to understand. And I think the best way to understand it is this. If I place this golf club to the ball in the address position and then do no more than this, what have I done?
You've brought the club head up 6 feet.
I've caused the head of that club to move some 6 feet straight up, but it didn't occur by itself. It didn't just get up there by itself. It happened because at the hub of the club, I hinged from down to up, and this occurred at the wrist. And that's precisely what happens in your golf swing. The club hinges upward and downward within the swing in relation to the ball. So go ahead, if you will, and address that golf ball with both hands on the club. Now hinge it straight up in front of, if you will. And again, if we measure this distance, it's almost 6 feet straight up. And now how are you going to get it back down to the ball? You're going to unhinge it downward, but the hinging took place at the hub of the club. You actually hinged the hub of the club upward and downward, and it occurred with your hands at the wrist. And that's actually how we connect that golf club to the ball. Now go ahead and make a full swing, if you will, in slow motion. And notice as you're moving your club from one side of your body to the other, the hinging of the hands is occurring at the wrist, and that's why the head of the club is levering upward, back downward, and then upward again toward the finish. And I'd hate to think how many feet the head of that club moved, because there's no way we could comprehend that within the swing. But if we can draw attention to this end of the club and recognize that the hinging truly does take place there, you'll be in complete command of the hinging of the club, thereby the proper hand and wrist action, which allows the connection between club and ball.
Very good.
So, mystery removed, Bobby,
Now we can make solid contact.
and you will.
Okay, good. Thanks, Pro.
Good. Lisa, we're going to talk about a couple of common problems that golfers encounter in their setup and in their footwork within their swing. And I'd like you to do this. You have a normal setup whereby your feet are placed in a certain direction. But I'd like you to set your feet perpendicular to this target line, this shaft that's on the ground.
Like that?
Yeah. Now, that in itself creates a bit of a problem with some players. Because go ahead and take me through a swing without striking the ball. Just swing from one side to the other. In doing that, because your left foot is perpendicular to the target line, there's a tendency to spin that foot outward. Now let me see.
Like
There
this.
you go. Exactly. That's a proverbial spin out, which we don't like to see, and it becomes very annoying to a golfer. So we can overcome that quite easily and quite nicely just by setting the left foot open a bit or outward at address at like a 45 to 90 degree angle. Now go ahead and make the same kind of swing, and you can comfortably move through the ball without the foot displacing itself.
Without losing balance.
And without losing your balance. So that was very well done. Now the other problem rather, dealing with the foot, has us displace our feet as we swing, meaning moving the feet around as we make a golf swing. And that in itself is really annoying. So what do we do to eliminate that? I'm going to have you make an imaginary outline around your foot, around both feet, if you will.
Okay.
And I'd like to see your feet remain in that outline as you make a swing.
Okay.
The feet can work up and down within the outline, but they don't move outside the outline. And by so doing, you're going to maintain a much better sense of balance,
Keeps you very balanced.
and you don't have the annoying impression that your foot or your feet are sliding all over the place.
Okay.
Up, down, but the foot stays within the same outline. You can do that in your imagination, or you could actually make a chalk outline around your foot if you like. Go ahead and take me through a swing. Great. Great swing.
Thank you.
Lisa, we're going to talk about a common topic today regarding spine angle.
Okay.
Spine angle pertains to every golfer. And when we address the ball, we want to look right as well as swing right. So you're standing now as erect as you can be, and the angle of your spine is straight up. But we're not going to address the ball that way. We have to bend somewhat at the hips,
Right.
at the waist, okay, in addressing the ball. but we'd like to keep the spine angle as straight as possible. We don't want a curvature in the spine.
Like this.
So to help that, I'd like you to take the club and hold it behind you, over your head, and set the head of the club outward a little bit,
Okay.
so it resembles a little tail, if you will.
Yes.
Now you've set the shaft of your club parallel with your spine, okay? All right, now you're going to have to bend over somewhat to address the ball.
Right.
So you're doing so at the hips. Your upper body tilts forward, and your derriere goes back a little bit, and your knees are flexed so that the weight balances between the heel and ball of the feet. Now you've assumed the so-called athletic stance.
Okay.
But as a checkpoint, you're using the shaft of the club to make sure that your spine and that club shaft are parallel to one another. So you don't have the rounded shoulder effect that a lot of people adopt at a dress.
Okay.
Okay, so use the golf club to your best advantage in helping to check the spine angle, which makes for better posture, and if we have better posture, we're going to swing more efficiently. Looks good
makes
to me,
sense.
Lisa. Looks
Thank
good
you.
to me. Lisa, we've got a problem we must confront.
Okay.
Okay. A golfer, in trying to address the ball and keep the head in position,
Right.
allows the head to follow the movement of the club back and forth. So as a result, loses sight of the ball and can't focus attention on the ball as they swing. So how are we going to arrest that? I'm going to ask you to do this for me. First of all, I want you to demonstrate what I'm doing in a negative sense. Cause the head to follow the movement of the club away from the ball and through the ball. It comes up prematurely, okay? When we'd rather be focused on the ball.
Right. Keep your head still.
In order to do that, I'm going to ask you to do this.
Okay.
I'm going to outline with my fingers an imaginary peephole.
Okay.
I want your eyes to center that golf ball through the confines of this peephole.
Okay.
All right.
I have it.
With that imaginary peephole, when you swing, your head and eyes are going to remain stationary, because if they didn't, you'd lose sight of the ball.
You're going one
In
way or
order for you
another.
to keep that golf ball focused within that peephole, the head and eyes have to remain in place. So it's just a mental thought, a little psychological thought that overcomes the other problem. And the head all of a sudden is steady as a rock, as the saying goes.
Keeps you concentrated on looking.
And as a result, you can focus the energy that you're creating by swinging the club directly into the ball, like pouring water or wine into a glass.
You're right.
And all the energy goes into the ball as a result.
It is. It's a focus downward almost.
Correct.
Great.
We cured that problem, didn't we, Lisa?
We did.
Good for you. Michael, we're going to learn a drill today that's going to help us both strength-wise and swing-wise.
Okay.
I want you to swing your club with one arm only.
Doesn't matter which one?
Suit yourself.
Okay.
All right, so you have the handle of the club in your right hand,
Okay.
and you're going to use your right forearm to swing the club first to the right side of your body.
Okay.
And notice the turn came from the right forearm. That turned the club, the shoulder, and the hip for you. And notice the upper part of the arm has lifted upward and your hand hinged at the wrist, correct?
Correct.
So now you know the full use of your right arm in the backswing. All
Okay.
right, now let's reverse, which would start with the legs, but now your arm is beginning to swing the club to the other side of your body. And notice the forearm, the extensor muscle in the forearm has extended the shaft of the club. And that's the use of your right side through the ball.
Okay.
So the right arm in the backswing folded up to cause the turn.
Got it.
In the forward swing, it gradually straightened out to give you the extension where most of the power and the direction come from.
Great.
Now let me see you actually do that. and you're going to gain a much better understanding of the use of the right side. Plus, it serves as a tremendous strengthening drill.
Okay.
And you've done it beautifully. You use the right forearm to swing the club from one side of your body to the other. And there was absolutely no excess play within your swing created by the head of that club.
If I would have done one thing wrong, I wouldn't have been able to make contact.
I doubt seriously if you could have hit a decent shot had you not used the right arm correctly in that swing. So it's a marvelous drill to help you understand mentally what you're trying to do, and physically to create the habit that goes with it, the muscle habit. Plus, it's serving as a strengthening drill.
I might build my golf muscles there, huh, Pro?
There you go. Now, what if you were to try to do it with the other arm, though, Michael? Now we have
Okay.
to learn to think in reverse a little bit, don't we?
Yes.
So in swinging away from the ball in the backswing, the left arm is going to give you the extension, see? Like a left jab, if you will, in the backswing. Your left arm is straightened out or extended, even though the elbow is still free. Now, when you reverse, what happens? The lower muscle in your forearm, the turning muscle in your forearm, is gradually covering the ball, so to speak, or causing the turn of the club through the ball to the left.
So is it rotating, Pro, through the ball?
It's causing the rotation of the club shaft.
Okay.
But there's no so-called release. Nothing is flipping over. You're just quietly moving the club to the left side of your body, and you continue that with the elbow free. You continue using the forearm to swing the club to the finish. And that in itself caused the turn of the club, the shoulder, and the hip to the left.
I didn't flip the club for once, Pro.
There was no flipping whatsoever.
I feel great.
All right, now let me see you hit a golf ball
Okay.
with just the left arm in action. We've sent the right side on vacation for the moment. This is going to be strictly a left side swing. Wonderful movement.
That felt
Wonderful
solid,
movement.
Pro.
And your left side worked exactly the way it's meant to work in the swing. There was extension in the back swing, and then in the forward swing, the left forearm caused the turn of both the club and the body to the left. So the body and the club were in sync, so to speak.
Man, I feel
And
powerful.
this will be a simple thing to you when you put both hands back on the club and use both sides, because now you're twice as strong.
I can feel that muscle has been tired from
That's
that
right,
few
and
swings.
it will be tired.
Thanks, Bro. That's great.
Great demonstration, Mike. And Michael, for as long as you played golf, when you were reading a putt, you had the direction line in mind, the target line, correct? And it helps you in getting your bearings, and it also helps you in relating to the hole as far as the line you want the ball to start on. But that's only half of it, Michael, one half of it. And putting, we've got to make the ball go in the right direction, but we also have to make it go the right distance. So we've laid this flagstick directly behind the hole,
Okay.
and it's at right angles. It intersects this target line. I want you to cultivate a feeling, Michael, of nursing the ball up to that second line. We call that the distance line.
So I've got
If
a direction line
this
and a
is going to be
distance.
the direction line. The other is going to be the distance line. And like in pitching pennies, I want you to cultivate a feel for making the ball go the right distance. And you do that by applying the right force with the handle of your putter. So nurse the ball right up to that line. There you go. It's right in the hole. Now, yes, you're trying to make the putt as you did, but if you didn't make the putt, it needs to go the right distance, because had you run it some 4 feet past the hole, even if it went directly over the middle of the hole, that's no good insofar as the gauging of the distance. So by having this distance line in mind, you're going to cultivate your feel for distance, and you want to putt that way from any distance. This is a distance of 10 to 12 feet, but you want to be able to do it from 2 feet or from 102 feet. You want to be able to nurse the ball up to that line. Do you comprehend how important this distance line is, Michael? It's equally as important as the direction.
Well, I've just got everything else out of my mind, and I've just got my line and my distance, and it really makes a big difference. I put everything else out of my mind. I can finally make a few putts and not
You're going
think
to
about
make it go the right distance, and you're going to 3-putt less as a result of that.
Because I have tap-ins instead of 4-footers.
That's exactly right.
Thank you, Pro.
Well done.
Appreciate it.
Well done. And Michael, we're going to address some negative hoopla to do with the golf shot. There are 4 horror shots that I know of in the game of golf. One would be the cold quit top. Another would be the out-and-out slice. Another would be the out-and-out hook. And perish the thought, the last would be the cold shank.
Call that the slightly rights.
Brave men shudder and cry at the mere sound of the word shank. But let's discuss those 4 shots, how they happen and how they can be cured.
Okay.
With the cold top, the one that we quit on, as you near the ball in your swing, not as though you would do it, but you meaning somebody else.
I've
if
done
your
it.
forearms do not swing the handle of the club through the ball, then that means the handle is going to be going backward. So you've
Okay.
actually quit on the shot.
Flip the hands, okay.
And if you were lucky to hit the ball at all, it's just going to go swirling along the ground somewhere, but not very far.
Okay.
The second horror shot that we're going to demonstrate is the duck hook, the so-called duck hook. And that occurs when your hands do this in the swing. Now mind you, you started with your hands to the side of the shaft, and ideally they stay there through the swing. But if you were to dare allow this to happen, your right hand is on top of the shaft, your left hand is under the shaft, and you just duck hook the ball.
Got it.
It's the only way it can occur. So by keeping the hands to the side of the shaft, you cannot hook. Conversely, to slice a shot, if we roll the hands the other way, that means the right hand is under the shaft, the left hand is on top. Well, that's Slice City. The other action was Hooksville, and this is Slice City.
Club's open. Club
This is the only
open or
way we
closed.
can slice. But by keeping the hands to the side of the shaft and moving the handle of the club from one side to the other, you cannot hook or slice. You might push, pull, fade, or draw, but you will not hook or slice. So you've eliminated those 2 horror shots by keeping the hands to the side of the shaft. And the fact that you cause the arms to accelerate the handle through the ball is going to prevent any tendency to quit on a shot. Now the only thing left and that we want to see in our horror show is a cold shank. Perish the thought. You shank a golf ball, Michael, when you've swung your club open in the backswing. And then in reversing the swing, you leave the club open. And that means the heel is leading the toe of the club as you near the ball. Now at best, you're going to fade or slice the shot. But at worst, if you extend outward, like inside out, you move the hosel of this club right into the ball. And bingo, you've shanked it.
I've done
So
that
the-
once or twice.
The cause was the fact that you left the club open, plus you extended to the right. Now the cure, if you're going to play with an open club, which you might if you were trying to play a fade, you should be extending to the left of the target, whereby you work the heel of the club away from the ball instead of into the ball. If that isn't the shot you want to play, then make darn sure you get the club closed before you get to the ball.
Okay.
And in either case, you're working the heel of the club away from the ball rather than into the ball.
Got it.
And you can't shank. So you've got a way to cure it. You've got 2 ways to cure the shank. You've got one way to cause it. You've left your club open. Plus you extend to the right.
Extend right out there. Done. Shank.
Okay?
Fix.
So
Swing to the left.
not that you want to bring them to mind again, but those are the 4 horror shots in your golf vocabulary?
I'll try to erase those right now. At least I know how to fix them if it happens.
Please do.
Thanks, bro.
All right. Jack, we're going to learn a few drills today that are going to help us in our plight to become a better player.
Okay.
I want you to do as I'm doing, hold the club in the middle of the shaft with it extended beyond your left side. Okay, and tilt it downward for me now.
All right.
All right. Now notice the club is free and clear of the body so you can move it through to the finish, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, now with your elbows nice and free and pointed downward, let me see you do that all over again. Start with the club tilted downward.
Mm-hmm.
No backswing at all. Let me see you move it to the left side of your body. Now, what you've learned there is how you move a golf club through the ball, which is the most important part of the golf swing. The golfers tend to be too backswing oriented.
Right.
So what you've gained from that is the understanding is how you move the club through the ball.
So
Do
if
that
we're
one
at
more time.
impact right now,
Right.
this is
Both forearms combine to move the shaft of the club to the left side of your body, which really means over your left hip. And notice your hands never left their starting position.
exactly.
Your hands were set to the side of the shaft to begin with, and your arms moved the club to the left side of your body, and the hands stayed to the side. At no time did the hands leave the side of the shaft. In this case, this is Sliceville. In this case, Hook City. This is the only way you can hook a golf shot. For your right hand to be on top of the shaft, the left hand underneath, or vice versa if you were to slice a shot. All of a sudden your right hand is under the shaft of the club and the left hand is on top. But Jack Wagner started with his hands to the side of the shaft, and he's going to stay there through the entire swing. Okay?
Yes.
Now, understanding how you move the club through the ball to the finish, let's see you add the backswing to that.
All right.
No, start with your hands in the middle of the shaft as
Oh,
you
I
had
see.
it.
Okay.
Now, simply swing the club over your right hip in the backswing. Now you find yourself in a perfect position. All right, now from the end of the backswing, let's see you swing the club slowly to the left side of your body, which means over your left hip. All right, now you just took us through a slow motion swing with perfect movement throughout, because the club was in the same relative position at every point within the swing.
Exactly.
Okay. Over the right hip, over the left hip. Absolutely perfect. Okay?
Yes.
And through that whole process, where was your body? Your body was set behind the shaft of the club, working to your advantage, because the club was free of the body and you had all of your body strength set behind the shaft of the club. So tilt the club downward again, and without the backswing, let's move it to the left side. Your body was behind the shaft, free and clear of the body was the club, okay?
Sir.
That's the position you want to maintain throughout your swing, all right? You're in your starting position now, whereby
Right.
you're behind the shaft of the club.
Okay. Right here.
All right, let's see you swing it to the right side of your body.
Slowly
Now
coming through.
Swing it to the left side of your body as soon as you care to. And through the whole process, Jack Wagner's body was behind the shaft of that golf club. Now you just enjoyed a perfect swing whereby you kept the relationship between club and body in the same position throughout. In other words, you were in sync. The club was in plane or in sync. Okay? That's a great drill. That one little drill teaches you everything you'll need to know about a golf swing. It's helping you with your grip, it's helping you with your setup, helping you understand your swing, which is simply swinging from one side to the other. And it's also helping you understand the right kind of hand and wrist action, because your hands at the wrist are hinging upward and downward. If you tried to employ the wrong kind of hand and wrist action, note what happens. The handle of the club goes backward and you've whacked yourself, right?
Yes.
And if you were holding the club out on the end, what that meant is you'd wind up like this. In other words, your body's out in front of the club where you can't play at all.
I'm
So
thinking if
you,
I
you
learned to
must
play like
appreciate that your hands are hinging the club up and down.
I see. Yes,
And
I
that's
do.
the right kind of hand and wrist action.
Can you think of all the strokes I'd get if I could actually learn to, play with like this? Thanks,
You'd
Eddie.
have a lot of customers, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
All
now
right.
hold the club out on the end just for,
Okay.
and we're going to make the same swing, but let's imagine the shaft of the club extending beyond your left side.
Okay. Yes. So the shaft is
And-
extended all that way.
And go ahead and
Never
use
touching my body.
use your forearms to swing the handle from the one side of your body to the other. That's absolutely perfect. Through that process, Jack Wagner's body was behind the shaft of the club. You hear the expression behind the ball.
Yes.
It doesn't really mean anything, because you can be behind the ball yet be out in front of the club.
Okay.
You can't play from here. Any wrong movement in a golf swing will put you in front of the club shaft. You don't want to be there. You want to be behind the shaft of the club at all times. Okay? Well done. Now, what if a player spun out? You've heard that expression, have you, Jack?
Yeah, absolutely.
What does that mean to you?
I would say something to do with his feet when he spins out, something either turning back.
So you've turned your left hip to the left prematurely.
Exactly.
And
Okay.
players who fade and by habit slice the ball ingrain that habit.
So if I'm
So-
back here, you're talking about this movement then,
Right.
right?
So I'm asking you to swing the club over your left hip. Well, you can't do that if you've already spun the hip out of the way. So we're going to dream up a little drill that'll help to overcome that.
All right.
And I want you to do this for me, Jack.
Okay.
I want you to put your feet close together. Now I want you to take your left foot and drop it over the top of your right foot and hook your feet together.
Okay.
Now with your feet on the ground and hooked together, to swing the club from one side of your body to the other, from the right side to the left side, with your forearms, mind you, not your hands. Keep the elbows free and swing it from one side to the other.
Okay.
What you'll find, Jack, if you were striking the ball, is that it becomes very easy for you to draw the ball now. Whereas without the footlock drill, it might have been very hard had you spun this hip out of the way prematurely.
Exactly.
And what you've gained from this drill by locking the feet is the fact that with the feet locked, you cannot turn this hip to the left. You cannot spin your hip to the left.
Nor can you use your right knee for 3 days. Pretty much cuts the right knee out of action. Okay.
So turn and hit me a couple of shots, if you will, down
Okay.
the fairway with your feet locked together.
Absolutely.
With the dreaded foot lock, we call this.
The dreaded foot lock.
Drop your left foot over the top of your right, hook them
Okay.
together. Now with your elbows free, just make a comfortable swing. Try to hit a half shot out there. And notice how easy it was to draw the ball or turn it left.
Absolutely.
It becomes much, much harder to fade the ball. So that's a fantastic drill to overcome an ingrained habit of spinning out or turning your body out of the way
One
prematurely.
more. Try it again here, pro.
Over the hips with it. Okay, and there you hit yourself a nice little draw shot.
Yes.
Okay,
So if I ever wanted a guaranteed draw shot in the middle of a tournament, I'll just wrap this thing over, right? Hopefully I don't have
that's
far
right.
to go, and just hit a little draw out there.
now nobody's going to ask you when you're playing in your next television tournament to lock your feet together, see?
Right.
They'd think you'd flipped out. But what you can do, take your normal stance now.
Okay.
With your normal stance, I want you to concentrate on a belt loop that sits over your right hip. You've got a belt loop that sits over your right hip.
All right.
All right, now take your club back for me. And from the end of the backswing, I want you to keep that belt loop back as long as you can as you begin your swing to the left. Go ahead and swing the club over your hip now. Over, 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 over. Go on over with it. All right, now the positive thought of holding this belt loop back indirectly checked this hip and prevented it going left too soon.
Huh.
So it's a little thought you can add to the equation in the middle of the golf course that makes it easier for you to draw the ball.
To keep from spinning this out
That's
before you
correct.
swing, you can't swing over that hip then.
It's going to improve your coordination so you have a chance to get the club to the left side of your body in time. So you've got a couple of great drills to go with there to eliminate a pronounced left to right action that you don't like.
Excellent.
Okay,
Let me try to hit one here, okay, Eddie?
please
With
do.
that thought of the belt loop, thinking of this.
Hold that right belt loop back as long as you can as you begin swinging your club to the left side of your body.
All right.
And that's a positive thought that overcomes the negative action.
Very good.
And there's a perfect little draw shot. And just as you ordered.
You're right.
You're beautiful, Jack.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the help, Eddie.
Well done. Volume 9, Tips and Drills. Thank you for viewing. And thanks to the cast of characters who lent themselves to this production. There's bound to be something in there for you. And remember, always swing the handle.